we won a really good race today.
Broadcasting live from the Capital OTB studios, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
We'd like to thank Gulfstream Park for their sponsorship of this program and some of the other programming and events here at Capital OTB. Gulfstream Park's championship meet features great racing now through Florida Derby weekend at the end of March. Good morning and welcome to Racing Across America on this Saturday morning. I am Seth Merrow. Thanks for joining us. Just want to start out and thank the folks over at Boulevard Bowl. We were over yesterday for a little OTB TV on the road. Nice hospitality over there. And boy, the lanes, when I walked in middle of the afternoon for a Friday, the lanes were rocking. Calmed down a little bit later, but there were still people bowling the whole time, and a nice crowd kind of in and out of our easy bet over there. So again, thanks to the folks at the Boulevard Bowl downtown Schenectady. Do keep in mind that there is a Gulfstream Park mandatory on the Rainbow tomorrow. So again, if you're a Rainbow player or if you like to play the mandatory pays, that comes up tomorrow at Gulfstream, Rainbow mandatory. Coming up on today's show, if you missed Derby Deep Dive yesterday, and again, that's our weekly Friday morning look at the Derby Trail. Yesterday, we had on Patrck Reed. He's a contributor to America's Best Racing. And he'd written an article earlier this week looking at the Derby Future Pool. There is a Derby Future and Oaks Pool this weekend. It'll close. It's open now, close tomorrow at 6 for the Derby, 6:30 for the Oaks. There's also an Oaks Derby double future bet. So you can take a look at that over the next couple of days. Again, you may want to sit back a little bit and see what happens at Colonial before you jump in if you're looking at one of those Virginia Derby runners. But we talked to Patrck Reed, taking a look at the Kentucky Derby Future Pool offered by Churchill and also some of the odds in Vegas as well. Went over some of the logical contenders, some of the mid-range on the morning line, and some of the longer prices that might be a little bit interesting. So again, if you missed that yesterday, you can pull that up on our YouTube channel, the Capital OTB YouTube channel. But at the end of the conversation, I parsed out a specific look at the Virginia Derby. And so we'll look at that this morning with Patrck Reed and get some of his thoughts on the Virginia Derby. A little bit later on, we'll have more Colonial talk. Kevin Kilroy, part of the handicapping team at this little 3-day Colonial Downs meet. And not only is there the Virginia Derby, but Virginia Oaks and some other stakes on the card as well. We'll get some thoughts on those stakes with Kevin Kilroy coming up a little bit later on. So that's all coming up on today's show and more. We'll hit on some news and notes and whatnot as well. But why don't we take a quick break? And when we come back, just a few minutes, taking as I say, we ended our conversation yesterday with Patrck Reed by taking a specific look at the Virginia Derby. And it was just a few minutes, but we get some of his thoughts on the race down at Colonial for this afternoon. So again, take a break. We'll come back. Patrck Reed from America's Best Racing.
The championship season is on at Gulfstream Park with great horse racing action Thursday through Sunday. Come out and enjoy the world's best horses, trainers, and jockeys as they compete over the Hallandale Beach Oval all season long. Take your experience up a notch and join us in 10 Palms Restaurant with unbeatable track views, outstanding dining, and convenient wagering options. For reservations, event schedules, tickets, and more, head to GulfstreamPark.com.
If you don't have a Capital OTB account yet, now is the time to log on and take advantage of the sign-up bonus. More details at CapitalOTB.com. Become a Capital OTB account member now and enjoy free past performances, wagering from any device, live streaming, racing info, contests, promotion and events, and more. So sign up now and take advantage of the new account bonus. Details at CapitalOTB.com.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
Let's shift, because we've talked a little bit about and alluded to the Virginia Derby coming up on Saturday. Kind of a new race on the schedule. Last year they changed from a grass race to a dirt race and added this little boutique meet to put it on the pre-Derby schedule. And this year they wound up with a field of 10 in here. We mentioned Butane coming out of a third in the Southwest for Pletcher, or for Baffert. Pletcher with a couple of horses, Grittiness, who we talked about, and Epic Desire. High Camp for Will Walden is interesting. Comes in off a nice workout down at Palmetto's. Only a couple of starts so far, but the Maiden Breaker looked pretty good. Lock, Stock, and Pharaoh seems to have a little bit of punch. You mentioned Confessional. Incredible to me for Riley Mott. In the Holy Bull was kind of dusted in there, but the race just before that was the Street Sense at the end of the 2-year-old season. That was a nice win at Churchill.
Three of them across the track as I come for the top of the stretch. Ganas and Universe, I did, trying to sustain that rally. They're off the turn. Ganas and Universe continue in tandem for long to go. Incredible's going to try and pick them up late. Fourth, now third, and targeting the top two. 16th to go, and here comes Incredible. Incredible is a last to first. Flashy winner of the Street Sense.
Intriguing field. And as I said earlier, I think they're kind of second stringers, but second stringers can always play well and move up to the first string. What were your thoughts on the Virginia Derby?
Yeah, I agree with that. And I'm fairly certain, barring any unforeseen after the race incidents, the winner of this race will go to the Kentucky Derby. That's what D. Wayne Lucas's American Promise did last year. Incredible is a horse that I'm really interested to see if he comes back. The trainer Riley Mott said the colt did not like the surface of Gulfstream, and that's why he ran poorly in the Holy Bull. I thought his win in Churchill Downs last fall was good. That is quite some time ago, though, so I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how he runs at 10-1 in the morning line. That's appealing to me. The other horse I've mentioned already is Confessional, the horse I'd probably put a Derby future bet on. And, he's getting Irad Ortiz to come in and ride, and 4-1 odds is okay. And then the Will Walton horse would be the other one I'd be interested in, just to see if he can stretch out a little bit. It's a 1 1/8 race, if I'm not mistaken, around one turn. The kind of New York style racing, I guess, down there at Colonial Downs, Belmont Park style racing. But his pedigree, Instagram is the sires is kind of iffy, but the Uncle Mo mare and seems to have more distance in the female side of the pedigree. So I'm looking at that one as well.
I think he's interesting too. The 9-2 is maybe a little light for me, and he may wind up there because of that maiden breaking win. But I like the angle, a couple of sprints, and now stretches out to a 1-turn 1 1/8. That makes the whole race very interesting as well. What did you make of Butane for Baffert?
To me, I'm not sure that out of Baffert's horses, that hasn't been the one that's kind of jumped out at me so far this last fall and this spring. And 5-2 is the favorite. I'm kind of looking elsewhere there.
And you mentioned Grittiness might give a little bit of a barometer on Talk to Me. Jimmy from New York, both coming out of the Withers. So it's going to be a fun race. Virginia Derby. Have you ever been to Colonial? I've never been. I'd like to go down.
I have never been there. I'd love to go. I had a friend that was in the Naval Reserve and lived there for several years. That was about 10 or plus years ago, and I never made it out there to visit. That was back when it was more turf oriented. The turf Virginia Derby.
Yeah.
Instead of
I'd like to go too. I hear good things about it, and that this little boutique meet is kind of unique and fun little stop on the Derby trail. Certainly, they also have the Virginia Oaks for the 3-year-old fillies on the card as well. Pat, appreciate the visit. And again, tell people to check out your work on America's Best Racing. You regularly post some handicapping articles and other looks like this week's look at the Kentucky Derby Future Pool. But appreciate the visit. We'll talk again.
Thanks, Seth. Take care.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
You like free money? Well, Capital OTB gives its players plenty of opportunities to cash in. At Capital OTB, there are so many ways for horse players to receive bonus dollars by simply participating in promotions such as our bankrolls, bounty bets, online handicapping contests, and much, much more. Plus, with Capital OTB's Player Rewards program, you get actual cash back. So what are you waiting for? Log on today at CapitalOTB.com or CapitalOTBBet.com and claim your free money.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Welcome back. And again, thanks to Patrck Reed for jumping on board. And I was trying to pull up, let's see if I can grab it here, what the future pool is after day one. And I was scrolling through. There we go. There we go. Get some odds here on the future pool. I'm just scrolling down horses. We talked about butane after, again, they had betting open yesterday at noon. So there was all day yesterday, but more of the wagering you would expect will come in over the next couple of days. Butane, we talked about 44-1. Canaletto, 30-1. Solid there. Again, on a horse I think is live, but like Patrick said with Chad Brown, will we aim for another spot? Preakness. Cherokee Nation, we talked about. That one's taking some action at 13-1. Chief Wallaby at 10-1. So another horse grabbing some action. Chip Poncho was interesting at the morning line, and at 40-1, currently still interesting. Class President, that was a nice performance a couple of weeks ago. You're getting 21-1 there. Commandment, no surprise. That horse took a lot of buzz and is 11-1. Confessional, who Pat liked. But again, we'll see that one in the Virginia Derby. So hold off on, your play there, but 99-1, at least 99-1 currently. Emerging Market comes out of that nice maiden debut victory down at Tampa, but the second place finisher there disappointed a little bit in the follow-up. So we'll see, but 65-1 for Emerging Market. Further Ado is 32-1. Now, I get it off the seasonal debut, long layoff. There was a delay getting back to the works, but was right in the scrum there down at Tampa. And, at a solid price currently, 32-1. Further Ado, but certainly will have another start before the Derby and performs well in that start. You've got a live runner there at a pretty good price. I would say Golden Tempo, 28-1. Incredible, again, we'll see today at 90-1. Iron Honor out of the win in New York at 46-1. Litmus Test, 70-1. Napoleon Solo, who I liked in the Fountain of Youth and disappointed me. I 52-1, but I'm not sure. But another one that, off a long layoff, needed that race, comes back and runs well in the next start. Maybe a couple of bucks at 52-1. Is worth it. Nearly, no surprise again there. 13-1. Paladin taking the action at 8-1. Maybe the only single digit on here. Patante coming out of the win in Southern California at 16-1. Reagan's Honor for West Point, Cherie DeVoe. That's an interesting runner, too. We didn't talk about that one with Pat, but that one is, I think, certainly, I think Bluegrass is the next start. And at 31-1, Reagan's Honor is interesting. Renegade right below at 12-1. Silent Tactic at 15-1 currently. And again, these are the odds after the wagering in the future pool yesterday. It opened at noontime. 45-1 on Talk to Me Jimmy, coming out of that really nice stakes win in New York for Rudy. Nice little New York bred, and you're getting a good price there. And the Puma at 17-1. All others, and I said yesterday, with the 39 individual entrants now, you get this late, it's hard to say what you're going to get with all others, but I would not be shocked at all to see you get 2 or 3 at least that become interesting because they will make a little noise, obviously. They hadn't made enough noise to make it on the list, but if they wind up in the starting gate first Saturday in May, they will have done something subsequently. So at 17-1, maybe all others is maybe a little interesting. You know, as they said yesterday, if you tuck a few of those in your back pocket on Derby Day, gives you a little backup ammunition. So there's your situation with the Kentucky Derby Future Pool. Again, closes tomorrow at 6. Oaks Pool closes tomorrow at 6:30, and there's also an Oaks Derby Double Future Pool, so keep that in mind. Let me hit you with some of the news and notes over the past couple of days. As I said earlier, Gulfstream Park mandatory on the Rainbow tomorrow, so keep that in mind if you like that wager. Sunday afternoon, mandatory Gulfstream Rainbow 6. Our Pick 3 bankroll was yesterday. Boy, been like 3 straight now where everybody wound up with a nice little chunk on it. I mean, it wasn't huge, but you got a few bucks to pop into your account. The folks on the team, as I hit, I think two of them, and there may have been a consolation in there as well. But we got to about $100 with the plays. So not what we wanted exactly, but everybody will get a little bit of money. But boy, it was a rough day yesterday. I wound up not playing any pick 3s in New York just because there was short fields in the mix wherever you went. And there might have been only one pick 3 that paid over $20 at Aqueduct. So I was concentrating more on Gulfstream and Tampa, and it just missed on one at Gulfstream. We came up, I think I had second in the first leg and then hit the other 2. And at Tampa, same kind of just came close. But we wound up hitting a couple others at Gulfstream that, again, it was a rough day. As I said, in New York, they were kind of short other places too, for the most part, at the tracks I was looking at. But we did cash a little bit. As I say, everybody gets a little more bit of money in the account. And as always, you can jump in for the promotions and events to see if you can get a little free money yourself from Capital OTB. You check out the promotions calendar at the website, capitalotb.com. And today, it's the Play the Board contest right here at the Clubhouse Racebook for a little extra money. Latest news on Irod Ortiz. If you saw that spill on Thursday, it was wacky. Came out of the one hole, and the horse kind of veered left and went through the fence. And as I understand, horse and jockey are okay. Irod was taken to the hospital. He got up, walked and everything, but was complaining of some hip pain. They looked, they took x-rays, everything's okay. But his agent has reported he's very sore. So he'll be off through Sunday, hopefully back next week for Irod Ortiz. Currently at the championship meet down at Gulfstream. He has a safe margin, but with a few days off, folks may have the chance to make up a little ground. But currently in the standings down at Gulfstream, Irod Ortiz sits atop the standings with 81 wins at the meet. Tyler Gaffleone second with 60. So you can see 21 win margin coming into today. So Irod has a little cushion while he sits on the sideline. But more important than the title is certainly to get healthy and be back. So we hope he is back next week. Speaking of Florida, good news out of Florida yesterday. Good news for racing fans because Florida is such an important part of the American racing calendar. In the wintertime, Gulfstream is a real focus, as well as, Tampa has some nice racing and Oaklawn and fairgrounds and whatnot. But Gulfstream is an important cog in the wheel, as it were, and things the past couple of seasons have been a little dicey down there as the owners of the racetrack have sought to get legislation passed to do away with decoupling. And the coupling legislation says if you want the slot machines at your racetrack, you have to have racing. Now, they did away with the decoupling laws in regards to dog racing, greyhound racing down there, and standard breds and goodbye dog tracks and goodbye Pompano. And folks are speculating it would be goodbye Gulfstream if the decoupling came. So they fought it last year. Last year they had the governor get on their side late in the game, and it got defeated last year. But they put up the legislation again this year. It passed the House, but when it got to the Senate, the news yesterday that the Senate session ended and they never, put it on the agenda, so to speak. So it didn't get voted on. So and there's going to be another late session, and the horsemen down there said we're keeping our eyes on that in case it gets, they sneak it in. But at this point, it looks like the attempt for decoupling legislation in Florida this year has again failed. So as I said, good news for racing fans, certainly, because again, Gulfstream, very, very important, I think, on the American racing calendar. I mentioned it yesterday on our setup show, but for folks who didn't see that, I wanted to bring it up again because if you look at the leaders list at Aqueduct, there are a couple of clear leaders, but one of them on the jockey side of things, Manny Franco is a clear leader with 50 wins over Jose Lezcano with 40, Jamie Rodriguez 34, Flavian Prat 32, and Kendrick Carmouche 29. So there's a 10-win lead for Manny Franco over Jose Lezcano. But on the trainer side of things, Linda Rice, 52 wins. In second, Brad Cox with 14. It's about a 40-win lead, a little, 38-win lead there. Linda Rice, 52, Brad Cox, 14, Ilkay Cantermachi, 12, Rick Dutrow, 10, Todd Pletcher, 9, Chad Brown, George Weaver, Amelia Green, all sitting at 7. But, wow, Linda Rice, 52-14 lead for winners at the current meet. Pulled up some info from day one yesterday at the NHC National Handicapping Championship out in Vegas. And again, I would tout you over the weekend to tune in the Steve Bick Show. If you go to stevebick.com, you can pull up the live stream. Normally he's on Sirius and XM. On the weekends, you pull it up live via the website. And he always does a great job. And it's fun to listen to because during the afternoon, he'll bring over some of the biggest players in the game and kind of picks their brain and gets some ideas and keeps up with the leaderboard and whatnot. It's fun to listen to. So again, tout that, go over to stevebick.com and pull that up during the afternoon. But things kicked off yesterday, 3-day event. Yesterday, 6 mandatories, 10 optionals. Today, there'll be 8 mandatories, 12 optionals. And what happens at the end of the day today, they pare down to the top 10%. They move on to Sunday. Sunday goes through about the first half of the day, and then it cuts off and ends for that portion. And that point, they go with the top 10, and that becomes the final table for the last, couple hours of Sunday. And they have, I believe, 7 mandatories that they face off with the final 10. And it's fun. It's fun to listen to. And as I say, Bick's on the air the whole way. But I pulled up some of the scoring after yesterday, which includes some locals. And we have a nice list of locals here, some familiar names, certainly. There's 4 or 5 from Saratoga, actually, but a few from the area overall. And as I say, pulled up their position. I will give you the leader so you can kind of rate where our locals are. And we're certainly rooting for the locals, but Michael Saletta, currently number 1 with 156. Tommy Lenberg has 2. You can have 2 entries. And overall, there are 828 entries, but that includes some people have 2 entries, including Tommy Lenberg, who is sitting second and third with his 2 entries after day 1 with $139. And what it is the mythical $2 win place. and it's capped also, because a few people, there was a $200 winner at Fairgrounds yesterday. People were tweeting, did somebody have it? And somebody in Vegas said, yeah, 4 people had it. But the wagers are capped. Maximum you get paid on a win bet's 42. Maximum on the place bet is 22. But still, the $200 winner and winding up with $64 out of that. Had to play nicely for the 4 folks who did jump in. I always say, and I play some of these online contests, I'd love to get out to Vegas myself. For about every 50 people, it seems like, having played over the years, somebody's going to have their day. Somebody's really getting, and not like a once-in-a-lifetime day, but a 3 times a year kind of thing that we all have, where everything you touch turns to gold, and it'll be their day. So about every 50 people. So, with 828 people, again, there's a $200 horse. Everybody now looks up at the scoreboard, who had it. With a crowd that big, almost every time, regardless of how crazy it is, there will be some people in a crowd that big that will have it. So it's the whole thing is tough with 828 entries. So again, number 1 on the list, 156. Number 10 on the list, 129. Looking over the past, I looked last 7 years, the winner had anywhere from 342 to 404 at the end of Sunday. So that's kind of the range you're shooting for. So getting off to a start, 156, pretty good. As I said, 129 was number 10. We'll take a look now at some of the locals. Our friend Don Chung from Clifton Park, Capital OTB player. He's in an okay spot after day 1. The real shooting will start, the real firing, and because, again, you have more mandatories and more optionals today. But Don Chung sitting at 153 with $65. So, they're a couple of winners away from being right in the thick of things. Rob Dolan. Saw Rob down at Gulfstream Fountain of Youth weekend. He was playing a contest down there, in fact. But Rob's in a nice spot. He's sitting at 281 with $49. But again, you have some money in the bank after day 1. A couple of winners put you right in the thick of things there. So we're rooting for Rob, certainly. John Martino from Saratoga sits at 401 with $37 and change. Paul Matisse, our friend Paul, who has won the National Handicapping Championship. Paul Matisse from Ballston Spa, 536 currently amongst the players with $28 and change. Kyle Morelli of Saratoga, 539 with $28. Doug Schenk, who's played in the tournament 7 times already, 307 on the list with $46. John Tambasco from my hometown of Amsterdam has a few dollars in the bank, has to work a little bit here on this Saturday, but again, wishing him a lot of luck. So we have a group of locals that are making it kind of fun, and we'll be rooting for them over the next couple of days, certainly. And you don't have to hit the top of the list to wind up being very happy. Top of the list winds up very, very happy, as I have the prize money out here. And as I said, you play today, you play tomorrow. At the end of the day on Saturday, they take the top 10%, which is going to be about 83 people. And they make it to Sunday. Everybody who makes it to Sunday gets a nice chunk of change. Number 83, the last person to make it in on Sunday, walks away from Vegas with $10,000. Person on top walks away with $825,000. And our friend Dave Nichols. Folks out there may know him. Dave spends a lot of time in Saratoga during the summer, so he's kind of a local. But he lives in Pennsylvania. The rest of the year, he's in Saratoga somewhat as well. So some folks out there might know him. I'm friends with Dave. Good contest, very good contest player. Won the NHC Tour this year. And that's the cumulative total of all the feeder contests during the year. Dave plays a lot of contests during the year, and so he wound up on top of the NHC Tour leaderboard. And that was a nice prize. I want to say $80,000 for being the tour leader. But he goes into the weekend with a shot. If he wins being the NHC Tour leader, you get $5 million. So we're rooting for Dave, certainly. But again, nice prize pool, as I say. If you make it to Sunday, you walk away with at least $10,000 and potentially $825,000. So going to be fun. And again, we'll be rooting for all the locals, listening to a little Steve Bick over the next few days as well. Again, stevebick.com for that information. And one more note, this was kind of wacky. So I think it was in the Blood Horse. The saddle that Ron Turcotte used on Secretariat, he had kept it for a long time. Then he proceeded to sell it some time ago before he passed away. And the estate of the person who bought it put it up for auction and has sold over the past couple of days ago, sold the Secretariat Seattle $1.5 million. And I thought, what do you do with that exactly? Sports memorabilia is kind of funny. I mean, you have kind of clearly a one-of-a-kind thing. But as they say, you have that like sitting display in your foyer. The kind of it's Secretariat. I paid $1.5 million for it. God bless the person who had $1.5 million to jump in on the saddle. But it was sold this week for $1.5 million. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Kevin Kilroy will join us. He's been down at Colonial the past couple of days, part of the handicapping team down there, along with Megan Devine, some of the other Churchill folks. So we'll catch up with Kevin, get some of his thoughts on the stakes action this afternoon. Obviously, Virginia Derby, but Virginia Oaks and some of the other stakes as well. All of that when Racing Across America continues. Stay tuned.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle. The championship season is on at Gulfstream Park. Great horse racing action Thursday through Sunday. Come out and enjoy the world's best horses, trainers, and jockeys as they compete over the Hallandale Beach Oval all season long. Take your experience up a notch and join us in 10 Palms Restaurant with unbeatable track views, outstanding dining, and convenient wagering options. For reservations, event schedules, tickets, and more, head to GulfstreamPark.com.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. As promised before the break, joined by one of the Churchill KKs, Kevin Kilroy. Normally we catch up with him at Fairgrounds or over at Churchill, but the weekend, this short 3-day meet at Colonial, he's doing some handicapping over there. Kev, good morning.
Good morning, Seth. Yeah, when they send me out to Virginia, I'm a happy man. It's beautiful out here.
Well, I will say I could relate to Thursday, because up here in upstate New York, Monday and Tuesday was 70 degrees, and then I got in the car yesterday and it was snowing on the way home. So I laughed a little bit on Thursday. What's your weather look like today?
It looks great. I think it's going to be low 60s, high 50s, not much wind. Hopefully the sun comes out a little bit more, but it's kind of mixed clouds. So, it should be a fair day, and no weather to deal with as handicappers, which is always crucial.
And off the air, you said Travis said to say hello. I will say you can tell him I gave him a little thumbs up on Thursday. He did a great job, calling through the snow.
He did, didn't he? He was hilarious. I'm sitting in his booth right now, and the way he was just having fun with not being able to see through the binoculars in the snow was pretty hilarious. I loved it.
All right, let's jump in and get some thoughts. Anything we should pay attention to that you picked up on the first couple of days?
Nothing really. I mean, it did seem like the track was playing forward fair is kind of how I think of it, like speed's holding, but they were still coming pretty nicely and running down some leaders that seemed like they would get it done. So it's a long stretch. It's something I always forget when I get back to Colonial Downs. It's a long stretch like Fairgrounds.
Yeah, and the Virginia Derby, and we'll hit on that now, is unique as well with a one-turn 1 1/8. It's certainly fun. It's a fun field scheduled in here this afternoon. $500,000 up for grabs. Interested to hear your take. I'm going to take a little shot with High Camp for Will Walden, who making some nice noise on the scene for Will. And I had him on last summer up at Saratoga, and people should go back and watch that. It was a really nice interview with Will, talking a little bit about his situation and getting in. It's great to see him being successful. And he brings in a horse with an angle I like quite a bit. If horses come back off a layoff or early in their career, a couple of sprints, and then they stretch out. But the stretch out here to the one-turn 1 1/8 is even more intriguing to me. I pulled up a replay of the Maiden Breaker on February 7th. High Camp's going to be the number 10 horse here. Johnny Velasquez on board that day, back on board again today. Confessional's interesting to me. Incredible for also a young up-and-comer, Riley Mott, looking to rebound off of the Holy Bull. Butane comes in for Bob Baffert. Grittiness and Epic Desire, Pletcher horses. Fun field. How did you see the Virginia Derby?
Yes, Seth, I agree. It is a fun field. It's bettable, obviously, with 10 in there. And I've got some hard opinions in terms of tosses and uses and underlays. It's a clear picture for me. So, I'll be building some tickets, that's for sure. High Camp, I'm with you. I think that he is very dangerous in this spot. I didn't think we'd see 9-2 on the morning line. I thought maybe there'd be a little more value, a little more meat on the bone there. So we'll see what they do with him. But there was two closers who came over the top of him in the stretch in his maiden breaking score. And a lot of times you'll see that when, bidding to the outside, he was kind of just chased on the outside, and the horse isn't able to re-rally and muster up a bid, and he did. Now, that being said, Gulfstream Park wide is where you want it to be. Yeah. And he did beat that Growth Equity home, who is coming up along the rail. So I'm kind of trying to be a little skeptical of people who've been wide on the Gulfstream track. So High Camp is a horse I'll be alive to. I'm worried about the value a little bit, worried about the part of the track he was on. Ocelli, Beckman's maiden in here. When you look at his form line, and you just don't think whether he's won or lost, it's just the best sort of development you can see. 210s. I'm looking at Thoroughgraph, 210s as a 2-year-old, 2.7s as a 3-year-old. That's just, pairing up tops and just holding form. And he's had excuses, Seth. He's been drawn wide in his fairground races. He lost to Reagan's Honor, who ran just huge next out for Cherie, going to be in the bluegrass. And he got steadied in the turn when Renegade made the move over the top, and maybe aggressively steadied by Centeno. I know Ramos wanted to be there. He couldn't get licensed in Florida or forgot to, wherever the story is. And Centeno didn't necessarily give him the best ride. And I'm not sure if he got great rides at Fairgrounds either. So he's had trip excuses. His form pattern is beautiful. And I think we'll get 10-1 on Ocelli. So I'm going to give Incredible to pass too. I'm talking to Riley. He's been working out fantastic. He's getting bigger. I was wondering if he got anything out of that race. I mean, I buy the excuse he just didn't take the track. So I was worried he just didn't get any experience, didn't get any fitness out of it. But Riley's talking double gallop outs, huge energy, just feeling great. So Incredible, I think, might be a touch of an underlay. They might bet him a little bit too hard. I'm wondering about that. I think he's got to be 8-1 to get behind him. So, but Oselli is the play for me. I'm tossing Clocker special. No need for him. Tossing Lock, Stock, and Pharaoh. Saw him get outworked by Magical Escapade in late February. It was no good. Tossing worked. I think he's got no shot. And I think the Pletcher too are sort of keys in your supers or your tries underneath. That's the third, fourth spot. Grittiness has proven himself to run game enough at 1 1/8. He might be the one to use a little more, that I might use a little more. Butane, Confessional, I think they're vulnerable, but I wouldn't want to lose to them in terms of that second and third spot at my verticals, but I won't use them on top on any day.
Yeah, Butane, I wasn't sure what to do with. I mean, there's a Bob Baffert horse on the Derby trail, but that he came out of the third in the Southwest and elects to go here. It seemed like a funny choice. These horses all seem to be looking to get, over the hump a little bit and make a little name for themselves, like Confessional and Incredible, off of poor performances in their last efforts, but better runs last time. So again, I wasn't sure what to do with Butane. Sally, interesting. The running line certainly, finished behind Renegade, well behind Renegade, but again, the third to Reagan's Honor. Reagan's Honor is in point. And again, that follow-up race was very good for that one. So that flatters Sally a little bit as well.
Yeah. And the barns always loved him. And that's why they keep on putting him in these spots. So if you can get a clean run, and they put blinkers on him a couple back, they thought he'd be more forward. He hasn't been able to get to that spot. So he could be up close stalking a little bit more than it seems if you just look at the running lines.
And I do think you're going to get a price, no question about it. So I like it. All right, let's go to race number 8 on the card this afternoon. The 3-year-old fillies, $250,000 up for grabs. They will go 1 1/16. Again, a one-turn 1 1/16. I pulled up a replay of Hit Parade winning the Untappable end of December down at the fairgrounds. Hit Parade's going to be the number 3 horse in here. Followed that up with a 5th place finish in the Martha Washington. So again, we're looking for a rebound. Dazzling Dame, I thought, was a little bit interesting for Brittany Russell with a 4 for 5 record so far. Bottle of Rouge comes in for Bob Baffert off a win in the Sunland Park Oaks. Cadabra could be a player for Todd Pletcher. Probably has to step forward a little bit for that one, I would think. But what are your thoughts on the Oaks?
Yeah, I'm all about Dazzling Dame. I mean, the way that she won the Basanda in a few of her races. I mean, you look up in the dictionary, public workout, and you'll find her win in the Basanda. It was just so easy, Seth. It was just so natural and so much the best. And I did like that Toledo got into her a little in the stretch, even though she was well clear, to keep her focused on what she's doing. Great spacing since that new top effort. She's a big Gervin filly and doesn't need the lead, but could very well be on the lead, and she rolls. So she's got to get out of the gate. She's big, but Dazzling Dame's a single for me. I mean, Hit Parade, I think she's been an overachiever. They had her in for 50,000. She got that star allowance win, and the Untappable. She beat Love Your Neighbor, who's green in terms of getting lost. We saw that again in the Rachel Alexandra. When she gets forward, she doesn't necessarily finish, even though it was a game effort. And the Martha Washington, she had no finish. Bottle of Rouge should have been, DQ'd and moved down. She caused tons of trouble in the stretch. She was very green. She's small. She's got a big heart. I'll give her that for sure. I thought Cadabra was the one at the Pletcher too that I wanted to use a little bit more underneath. So Dazzling Dame is my single in there. I think she's the goods. I'm excited. She didn't run all that great at Churchill, so I'm not sure about the Oaks for her, but she looks like the one in here today, that's for sure.
Yeah, no arguments there. I will note Hit Parade, Irad was scheduled on. I mentioned earlier he's out through the weekend, hopefully back next week, so wishing him well. But Christian Torres named on Hit Parade. And again, scratches are out. You and I were talking before we went on the air. And in this race, Some Money to Love is out. There are no scratches at this point in the Derby, which, again, good news. There's also a nice little group of undercard stakes as well. The Sandy Bottom, race number 7, Fillies and Mares going a mile. And in here, I pulled up a replay of Think Fast, Laurel Park, early in February. It goes out for Hugh McMahon off this nice win. Think Fast is going to be the number 10 horse here. Hazelwood, a guy who is certainly making a name for himself as an apprentice, and Did well on this one with the 5 pounds back in, as I say, early February. I'm tilting there. Queen Azteca looks interesting for Rudy Brissett. Michael Stidham has conch fried rice coming up from the fairgrounds. Eunomia for Safi Joseph, obviously with those connections, Flavien Prat on board deserves consideration clearly. What do you think in that 7th, the Sandy Bottom?
Yeah, they had 14, so they split it into 2, and I think this is the weaker of the 2 groups. So it might be the spot. I mean, I've kind of see it 2 ways. If, Eunomia has that standout look, actually the Royal Delta 3rd to that stablemate, relatively recent addition, gets Flavien Prat. I thought that Queen Azteca was the play in here. Blinkers come on. She's been working very well. She was better than Clocker Special, who Rudy's got in the Derby recently, and I think she's coming forward. I mean, we've got a lot of 4-year-olds here who are making that second start and liable to be anything, in terms of making that move forward in the development. So Queen Azteca, I think with the rail, the Christian here, I think he can work out a good trip from that spot. So a little bit of a cutback. She'll have that foundation. And then past that, Conch Fried Rice, she ran huge. She wasn't supposed to win. She beat her stablemate Amalfi Drive, and that wasn't the plan. Sophia Vives gave her a great ride. Will she back that up? She also has that foundation. She's also making that second start as a 4-year-old, third start, really, since getting things rolling at fairground. She's a little bit more interesting to me than a few of the others, just because they were trying to get her in races a ton as a 3-year-old, and at fairground she just kept on coming up with off the turf days and et cetera, and they've realized she's quite good on the dirt. So she could have a little bit of a look in here, and Toledo knows this track very well.
You're a fairgrounds guy. I heard John, I think it was John, it might have been Christofak, but somebody was talking about Sophia Vives down there and kind of noting she's making a little noise down there. What are your thoughts on her? Because we talked to her a couple of times up at Woodbine. Yeah, she's worth watching.
It took her a month or so to figure out her timing with the track, which, you can't blame her for that. But once she did, that's what impressed me most about her. She just knew when to move. She knew how to be patient. Long stretch, and she'd wait to the quarter pole to really start to get into, when other jocks are asking, and midway through the far turn. So she got her timing down. She started getting more live mounts, and she made the most of them. I'm super impressed with her. She's cool.
Yeah, as I say, we've talked to her a couple of times on trips up to Woodbine, and certainly was making noise up there. So it's good to see her, in the wintertime moving around and continuing to make a little noise. All right, 6th race is the other half of that Sandy Bottom, as mentioned. I pulled up a replay of Passage East in here. I like her laugh. I'm going to use that one on top, but I pulled up a win Passage East because it comes out of the Fritchie for Hugh McMahon. Sheldon Russell on board today, was on board for this victory. Passage East is going to be number 7 horse. Gutsy Nose victory here. I have that one right underneath. As I said, her laugh to me is intriguing for Riley Mott with John Velasquez on board coming up from Gulfstream and working at Palm Meadows, and some nice works coming in. Chasin, intriguing. Brown Sugar. Again, we've scratched down with the 3 and the 4 running away in Amalfi Drive out. So short field, but what did you see in the 6th race version of the Sandy Bottom?
I'm right there with you. Her laugh. They threw her in, against the Wolves in the La Brea, and they couldn't get a flight out there. I forgot what was going on weather-wise, or et cetera, but she had to van out. So I think she has a pass on that race. And then it was a forward flow, slow pace, and inside information. I thought that she was taken back a little bit too much, that Jose Ortiz rise that can go wrong, sort of situation. And I thought she was taking kickback. You could visually see her sort of trying to avoid the pass of the forward horses, but still she gave a game run, and the works have been very sharp. Obviously they've been thinking a lot of her to put her in those spots, and Johnny B taking the call, speaks volumes. So she's the one for me. Passage East. How good has she been? I mean, 8-time winner, great progression. Just, Hugh McMahon's been fantastic with her. It's one of those 2 for me, but I think the market's going to see it that way. So I'm going to take a hard stand with her last.
And the stakes kick off in race number 5, the Royal New Kent. Again, we've scratched a little bit here with Rolando and Pay Billy, so short field. But I wondered if Dragoon Guard was going to just class him out in here. And I went back a ways just to, down memory lane, as it were. This is going back to 2024, but Dragoon Guard won the West Virginia Derby, going to be the number 3 horse here. And it's raced decently since, but as I say, I wonder if this one just kind of classes him out. The Japanese bred, also interesting, Ray's Kane. What did you think in the Royal New Cat?
Give me Godzilla. Comarino Amoide. He's so game. I mean, he just keeps on coming. The Steiny win was fantastic. They went fast. It went super fast up there, and he had plenty left to get it done. Phileas Fogg was, who he was going against, who was, I think, odds on, with 3 horses. What are you going to do? You're going to see a short price, but he always shows up. He always shows up. He doesn't need good spacing, and I think he shows up. And here again, I think he just got a little bit more sort of swagger than Dragoon Guard. Dragoon Guard's got, a very sort of one-dimensional but effective style. He's super fast. Outside draw, Johnny V, you can't argue against that. He could just could outclass him on top and bottom in terms of the rider and the horse. I like Comarino Amoide. Tour player was very well met in the Hooper. And he was on that bad rail at Gulfstream. He was live that day. I backed him that day, and I think maybe he could work a little bit better trip out here against this short field. So, tour player might be the value play in this small but mighty group.
All right, Kev. Before I let you go, a couple of things. First, are you a future player? And at the top of the show, I was going down the odds after Friday. There's some decent odds in it. I mean, Further Ado is sitting at 31-1 off. I get it off the seasonal debut, but it was off a long layoff. And there are a couple other horses in there that are like that. You take any pop in the future pool?
Yeah, I mean, I will. This is the time that where I start thinking, all right, let's get something going. I think this Virginia Derby field is interesting. I think whoever wins it is going to be an underlay because of it, maybe. I wish we could sort of lock in a price before that.
Yeah, really.
In terms of High Camp, in terms of Ostelli, in terms of Incredible. I mean, Commandment is at the top of the list for me. Paladin, obviously, we're not going to get prices on either of those two. I'm not sure who to go with right now in terms of what the sneaky play is. I do like seeing 30-1 plus at this point. And it might be one of those years where you say all others if they give you a good enough price, 10-1 or something like that, because it's not a clear picture in my mind.
I said the same thing. We have our Derby show on Fridays, and with my guests yesterday, I said the same thing. I don't know this year where you can look at, like the NTRA poll in the top 5 or whoever you think is your top 5 and feel confident you've got the Derby winner in there at this point. I think it could still shake out with today's results and the 100-point races coming up. It's going to be very interesting. One other question. Are you a contest player at all? And do you have any rooting interest? Any friends out at the NHC in Vegas this weekend?
I used to play contests a bunch and have been out to NHC a couple times. Who's out there? Frank McGowie's out there. Always rooting for him. Frank's one of the best. Clocker down at Fairgrounds. Clocker John's up there. I don't know Clocker John. I actually got to meet him. I can't believe I don't know him. But yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure who's all out there. I'm not paying that close attention to any individuals, but I was listening to Vic most of the day yesterday whenever I could, and I'm always looking at the leaderboard. I mean, I love that NHC. It's so fun. That room's electric.
It's funny you mentioned it because I touted to folks this morning, do not pull up Vic's website and listen. I have said to him for years, who would have thought a radio show at a handicapping contest? But it's been phenomenal. You sit there and you get to pick the brains of the biggest names in the game during the weekend. It's always a lot of fun. So I touted people do that. And finally, before we let you go, what's your schedule like over the next month or so as we head to Derby week?
Yeah, so I'm going to go back home to Louisville for a couple of days, see the kids, and then drop on down to New Orleans for the Louisiana Derby and all that action closing weekend, and then get a little bit of a break, and then just dive into the Keeneland. I'll be doing expert picks up there a few days, and the morning work show. So that starts up that Friday, 2 weeks before the Derby. I think it's April 15th, 16th, something like that. And just be watching all that action in the morning. We've got horses arriving at Churchill this week, and it's on, Seth.
Yeah,
It's on. I can't wait for it.
As I said, I think it's really going to warm up as we get into this weekend in the 100-point races, certainly. Kev, appreciate the conversation. Again, all eyes on the Virginia Derby today, as that is the step on the 3-year-old scene this weekend. So we appreciate your thoughts, and we'll be tuned in over the next few weeks as well. Again, the big weekend coming up at Fairgrounds, certainly, but then the march to the first Saturday in May. Kev, appreciate it. Good luck to you and everybody down there, and we'll talk again.
Yeah, Seth, thanks for bringing your listeners' attention to Colonial Downs. It's a fun week.
Appreciate it. Kevin Kilroy, again, part of the handicapping team this weekend down at Colonial Downs. And again, today, nice Derby, Oaks, a few other stakes on the undercard. So definitely click in for the action this afternoon at Colonial Downs. We'll have it here on the network as well. Let me tout you with some of the other stakes coming up today. As well. I didn't mention these earlier, but at Aqueduct, Jimmy Winkfield, 3-year-olds sprinting. That subdivision of 3-year-old sprinters is always a lot of fun. An easy decision for Mike Rapoli, trained by Amelia Green, comes off a big debut victory and could be interesting. And, in the second start to move into stakes company and some horses clearly with a little more experience, obviously. Easy decision is one to watch because if this one gets it done today, moves into that subdivision, as they say, as a player, or perhaps they try to stretch out, again, having only the one start at this point. Hutchison, 3-year-old sprinters down at Gulfstream as well. Arbiter for Wesley Ward looks tough. Couple of starts under the belt, maiden win, optional claiming win, so that one is playable certainly, or at least worth kind of paying attention to. Again, as a potential player going forward in the subdivision of 3-year-old sprinters. There's a couple others in there that are interesting. And over at Oaklawn, the Whitmore today, grade 3 event for sprinters. And one of the sprinters in there is the 7-year-old Tejano Twist, who in 2025 ran 3rd in the Whitmore. In 2024 ran 2nd in the Whitmore. And a couple of years ago, 2023, won the Whitmore. So a veteran in this stakes race, Tejano Twist going out for Chris Hartman, a millionaire approaching $2 million, $1.7 million for the 7-year-old. So he makes that one interesting today. That'll be down at Oaklawn in the Whitmore. So plenty of great action today here on the network via CapitalOTBBet.com and more. Don't forget, if you come to the Clubhouse Racebook today, $100 play the board contest. So a little extra fun. Also, as always, our sports screens will feature some of the conference playoffs on the college basketball side of things. And don't forget, next week, starting on Thursday, March Madness. So if you come down to the Racebook, obviously you can play all the races, but we will have the NCAA games on as well, Thursday through Sunday here at the Racebook starting next week. But again, conference tournament play this week, and you can watch it today and take your shot at that play the board contest as well. All right, Seth Merrow wrapping it up for this edition of Racing Across America. Hopefully we tossed out some interesting ideas. We'll be back in this afternoon looking at some of that action. I have the Colonial card handicap, but also some Aqueduct and some Gulfstream. So we'll toss out some thoughts on those. And just pulling up here my actual PPs with Aqueduct getting off. Yeah, they're still at that 110, and 1250 has been the new post time the past week or so down at Gulfstream as well. And Colonial will kick off. Colonial kicks off at noontime. So again, we'll jump in an hour or so with the Colonial kickoff and give you some ideas there, and then continue throughout the afternoon. Should be fun. Again, thanks to the folks yesterday down at the Boulevard Bowl in downtown Schenectady as we were on the road with OTB TV. Great hospitality down there. Nice little crowd came in and out during the afternoon, had some food and fun. And again, thanks to the folks at Boulevard Bowl in downtown Schenectady. All right, going to wrap it up for this edition of Racing Across America. But as noted, we'll be back in about an hour or so, kick things off a little Colonial, then pull some Aqueducts and some Gulfstream in the mix. And there will be plenty more here on the network as well. So we'll see you then. We'd like to thank Gulfstream Park for their sponsorship of this program and some of the other programming and events here at Capital OTB. Gulfstream Park's championship meet features great racing now through Florida Derby weekend at the end of March.
Watching OTB TV, a service